We've got a new one from Flex. It's the 24-volt brushless 30-degree framing nailer, and this is the kit. This is the FX4351B-1C, I believe, and it comes with the nailer as well as a beautiful bag. I mean, who doesn't want a good, nice, very nice Flex bag? Anyway, it comes with the bag. Also should be a charger in here. Should be a battery in here. Yep, there's the battery right there. I believe it's a 5.0 battery. Yes, 5.0 battery, so 960 watts out, or 960 watt hours. So 5.0 battery, no, I'm sorry, 120 watt hours, 960 watts of output, and love the fuel display on the battery on the charge indicator there. We'll find another 5.0 that's already charged. But anyway, that comes in the kit, and then lovely book. And the nailer. So again, this is a 30-degree nailer from Flex. Looks like probably belt clips. Yep, multiple belt clips there. Rafter hooks, belt clips, whatever you want to call that. Oh, and there should be a charger in here as well. And this is a 160-watt charger, so a fast charger. So as you saw, this battery is not charged, so we'll throw that on the charger, but for the time being, pull it off our drill, I believe. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough for right now. Throw this on here, and look at there. Nice, I like it. That's different. They've got the battery turned 90 degrees, but it does give it a nice base to actually sit on, so you can actually sit this up. I'm sorry, this is a belt hook, but it already has a framing hook as well. So if you're happy with just a framing hook, you can leave that and leave these off. Or if you want to hang these on your tool belt, obviously you can mount these right there or right there, however you want to. And then also be able to mount these so that you can hang them on your Flex stack packs or anywhere else you want to mount this so you can hang your hook, hang your tools. Take a little closer look at this guy. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, this is the 160-watt fast charger from Flex. Now, if you're not aware of Flex or the mother company of Flex, they know a thing or two about batteries. They know a lot about batteries. They're probably better than most of the manufacturers out there, if not top-notch, you know, top brass, if you will. So they understand batteries. They definitely understand chargers, and they understand the combination of both and how the charger needs to talk to the battery, how the charger needs to cool the battery when charging to keep those temperatures down so that you can charge them fast, at the same time not degrading the battery itself. They understand that. So when it comes to Flex and chargers and batteries, you're getting really quality stuff. And again, you're getting a nice fast charger with that 160 watt, and the 5 amp hour battery should be able to drive about 1,100 nails in this 30-degree framing nailer. Now, this will shoot anywhere between 30 and 34-degree nails, so most of your stuff you're going to find on the shelf is going to be 30-degree, and it's going to shoot anywhere between 2 and 3.5-inch nails as well. I mentioned the model number is the FX4351 or B, and I think -1C for the kit, but as far as the product itself, it's the FX4351B. 24 volts, so you're truly getting a 24-volt battery. You know, when you see the 18-volt and 20-volt, that's just kind of a play on words, depending on whether you've got a max charge on the battery or not. When it comes to a 24-volt battery, you're literally getting an extra cell in each one of those series, which is going to give you that 24 volts, not an 18-volt or a 20-volt. You're getting a 24-volt battery. When it's charged, it's going to show 24 volts. So you're going to get better possibility of drawing more power out of there, as well as more capacity, being able to draw that power for a longer time as well. Now, right here on the base of the tool is going to be our power button, as well as kind of the control unit, if you will. So probably have to hold that down. Yeah, if I just push it, nothing happens. So hold it down for a second or two, and then we'll see it's going to light up. And you see we have single fire mode, or basically when I pull the trigger and the tip is depressed, it's going to fire a nail. Now, if I put it in what I would call bump fire mode, now I can hold the trigger down and bump the tip. It's going to fire each time I bump the tip and I have the trigger held down. So again, I can select between those two modes where it will bump fire or when it won't bump fire. Let's take this battery out of here while we're messing with the tip. And you can see up here on the tip, we have a knurled collar right here. And what this is going to do is adjust actually the countersinking or the depth of the head of the nail and how deep it's being driven into the wood or into whatever product we're driving it into. So we can back off of that, or again, we can push it down. And you can see here, there's a little indicator right there that shows go this way to, I believe, yeah, raise the nail up. So that's going to leave it more proud where it's actually sticking up a little. And then go this way to actually sink the nail further down into the wood or below the deck, if you will. So depending on the hardness of your wood, what you're shooting into, whether you're shooting into ply or whether you're shooting into MDF or whether you're shooting into lumber, depending on all those things, you may have to adjust that to get that countersinking or that depth of drive to the way that you want it. Now, when it comes to nails, obviously, we talked about 30 to 34 degrees. Most of your framing nails that you will get in that range is going to be your 30 degrees, at least the ones off the shelf. And also, when it comes to 30 degree, obviously, it's more angled than a 21 degree. And by the way, what's the difference between 21 degrees and 30 degrees? Well, yeah, the dumb math for sure, so 9 degrees. But really, they accomplish the same things. It's still a framing nailer. But what you'll find is that really it's probably more so a geographical thing of what framers and carpenters are used to. When it comes to, in the West Coast, they may use one. On the Midwest, they may use another. On the East Coast, they may use another. Internationally, in fact, internationally, I think a lot of them like to use 30s. Now, the only problem with sometimes like on the East Coast, maybe even other places, when it comes to a 30 degrees, sometimes you can get these where it actually has a clipped head. And in fact, Flex says that this will actually shoot a clipped head or a full circle or a full head. And that just means that you can see how close these are. Well, if the head was actually on center, this head would have to be clipped or have to have a portion of it missing to be able to stack these nails that tight. Well, if you'll notice on these pass loads, the head is offset on this, so we still get a full round head. So your code may require that you have a full round head. Then you just need to make sure that you get the correct nails when you're actually looking for that job. And again, if you look at the pass loads, they do have that full circle, but that's how they're doing it, is they're actually offsetting the head so that they can get that full circle of the head on there and not have to have it clipped. Now, these are 3-inch ring shank, hot dip galvanized collated nails. Typical framing nail. Again, these are 3-inch, not 3.5 inch. But we're going to throw these in here and take a look. So slide these in like any other nailer, and then pull this right here, let it go, and you're ready to rip. Throw a battery in there, you're ready to rip. So if we want to eject them, I'm going to pull this here, let it slide down, pull these out, and we're good to go. So very easy to load these. Again, pull that, slide that back, and let her rip. Okay, we've got some pressure-treated 4x4 here. We've got our 3-inch nails loaded in here. Let's go ahead and power this on, and we'll leave this in single fire. We'll depress this and see what kind of drive we get. Oh, yeah, that's still driving it way below deck, so let's back off. In fact, let's give it a few turns there. So you see that's not near as deep. A few more turns. Yeah, so now you see that's barely proud, meaning it's just above the deck surface or above the lumber surface there. See if that stays consistent. Yep. Yeah, so I'm going to drop that just a touch. A little more. Yeah, so now I'm sinking that head just below the surface of the wood, kind of right exactly where I want it. Now let's see if it stays consistent when I go into bump fire mode. So now I can pull the trigger and then, okay, I actually came up on that. It's the reason that left that proud. So you can see there, when you're actually kind of anticipating that fire and coming off of it, you see what you do right there. That was not the tool, that was me trying to get into a rhythm of bouncing it off of there. Well, it's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to leave that pressure down to let that drive the nail, and I'll show you here a better idea. Oh, now we've got dry fire. So we've reached the end of our stick, and it said, you're at the end of your stick. I'm not going to try to fire those. Let's see how many we left in there. Looks like 5. So we can leave those in there. Grab another stick. And now we're good to go. So we can fit a whole stick in there with the 5 dry fires that are left in there. We're still in bump fire mode. And now let me show you a better idea of how to do this. So if you really give that pronounced drive into it every time you do it and not let it bounce on you, you're not going to get these, and you're going to drive them. Again, I bounced on that one. It's going to drive that nail like it's supposed to. Now here's another big advantage of a 30-degree framing nailer, is the ability to toe nail a little easier or have more of an angle, because it's exactly what it seems like. You have more of an angle offsetting off the rear of this tool to give you more angle as to, you know, how close you can get on your toe nailing. Because if there were less of an angle here, you'd be more straight up. Like with a 21 degree, you'd be more straight up like this and not be able to toe nail at least straight on like this. So here, I can shoot in and shoot those nails in. Now I need to go into a deeper drive because obviously I'm not sitting directly into the wood. And I can come in sideways as well and shoot that a little cleaner than coming straight on after it. But again, that larger degree, that 30 degree, does give you more ability to get in and toe nail into tighter areas. I mentioned earlier with the 5.0 battery, you're going to get over 1,000, about 1,100 nails per charge of that battery. So in essence, pretty much most of a day's work just off of a battery, if not the full day, depending on what you're doing. Now, pricing on this, it's like $339 for the bare tool. If you want just the tool, just the nailer, you can get this for $339. If you want the kit with the 5.0 battery and the charger and the bag, it's going to run you $489. Now, you're going to get a 5-year warranty with this as long as you register the tool. So when you buy the tool, get online very quickly and go ahead and register the tool. Then you don't have to worry about having a receipt or any of that stuff because you'll already be in their system. And if you need to, you can send the tool in or have it fixed or replace it, whatever. But it's going to be covered for 5 years.